Video I'm going to cover custom VPC and launch a new EC2 instance in our custom network. So if you're already familiar with AWS, you may know we'll be having a VPC, subnets, route tables, all default resources will be present in each region. So our first thing should be removing the default resources. As you can see, we have a VPCs, 3 subnets, one default route table, internet gateway, DHCP option set, and network ACL. Uh, by default, by AWS, these resources are provided. So if a new user wants to launch an EC2 instance, they can directly go and launch an EC2 instance. But in a production environment, you don't want to use your, you don't require to use your default network. So you need to customize your network. So how to create your custom network, I will be showing you. So first, let's remove the default resources which has been created by AWS. Let me go to the VPC. Let me select the VPC which I want to remove. Delete VPC option. Here you can see what are the resources it is going to remove. First VPC, it's 3 subnets, internet gateway, and other related resources. So acknowledge I want to delete. You can check the status in your VPC dashboard. You can see all the existing resources. It is now 0. So now we can start our own custom network. So to create a new VPC, the right side corner you can see the create VPC. So it is asking for name of your VPC, CIDR for your VPC, and whether it is a IPv4 or IPv6. So before going to create the VPC, you need to know few things about the CIDR. So under AWS, you will be using the private IP ranges to create any of your network. So these are the private IP ranges available. So anywhere if you go, you will be using ranges available from this IP ranges. So the ranges are 10.0.0.16, and next one is 172.16.0.0/16. /16 is the biggest IP ranges. So any one of these IP ranges from the private IP ranges only we will be using our VPC ranges. So I will be using 172 range. Create. So if you select your VPC, under the details section, you can see the details of your VPC. See, for each resources which is created under AWS, it will be having a resource ID. So we have a VPC ID and the CIDR range which we have provided for our VPC. So as we have created the VPC, now let's create our subnets. So you can't create your resources only with VPC. You need to have individual subnets. It's like if you're working in an organization, to separate your resources based on the whether it is production, development, or testing. To separate resources, you need something to separate. So like that, we will be using subnets. So we have only one VPC. Subnet range must be from the range which you have provided. I'll be taking the /24 range. So availability zone, I will be selecting availability zone 1. We have 3 availability zones. So I'll be selecting the zone A. So we have created our VPC and a custom subnet. So once if you go to your dashboard, we have created only VPC and one subnet. You can see some other resources are also present. Those are route table, security group, DHCP option set, and NACL. So whenever we create one VPC, some resources are created by default. Those resources are security group, NACL, and route table. Now let's see the subnet. Under the detail section, you can see subnet ID, which availability zone we have created it, what is the route table associated with it, and what is the IP range of our subnet. Right side we scroll down, you can see what are the available IPs for this subnet. It's showing 251 IPs are available, but if you calculate for the /24, there should be 256 IP should be available. There are 5 IPs missing. So what are those 5 IPs and why we unable to see it? So if you have a range /24 range, 256 IPs should be available, but our available IPs are only 251. So there are 5 reserved by default. 01 is reserved by network IP. 0.1 is for DNS IP. 0.3 reserved by AWS for future is the management IP, and last IP is a network broadcast. So whatever the range you provide, first and last IP, first 4 IPs and the last IPs cannot be used by you. Only the next IP 10.0.0.4 will be the next IP available for you. And as we discussed earlier, the default creation or route table, security group, and NACL. So let's check the default resources. Let me rename it as default route table. check the routes. You can see this is our VPC CIDR range. Target is local. This means active. This means active. This means communication within our VPC is allowed. Next created resources security group. So if you can see, there is inbound and outbound rules. Inbound is incoming traffic, outbound is outgoing traffic. What are the incoming traffic from the outside you are going to allow? That is what inbound rule define. So here if you can see, type all traffic, protocol all, port range all. Its default route table will allow all the incoming traffic and all outgoing traffic. So these are the resources which has been created.